Hello, Monarch fans. I am joined today by ODU field hockey head coach Andrew Griffiths, currently coming to me live from Providence, Rhode Island, the night before the start of the Big East tournament and a matchup with Temple. Coach Griffiths, thanks so much for joining me today.
Gary, thanks for having us.
Yeah, so how was the trip up to Providence? Everyone kind of settled in, getting ready for tomorrow?
Yeah, everything went smoothly. We had one player forget their ID who had to run back to campus to get it in an Uber, but we all made it on the flight safely. We all got here with all our luggage and sticks and goalie equipment, so everything was good. And we had practice today at Providence on the field, which is great, and the weather's beautiful. So especially for New England at this time of year, it's couldn't be much better.
That is some pretty good planning if a player had time to go back to campus to get an ID and then get back to the airport and get going and everything arrives. So I think you're doing better than like 90% of us would travel these days through the airports.
Well, it's not the first time it's happened. Let's put it that way. Despite many reminders, when you have a team of college athletes, sometimes things happen. So you got to try and anticipate them and leave enough buffer time for those mistakes.
Hurting 18 to 22-year-olds for a very important travel trip up there to Providence. Not an easy task by any means, but let's chat a little bit about the regular season. You go 11-6, you go 5-2 in a really tough Big East. I thought you all did a really good job with scheduling of having a good mix of opponents, but definitely some very, very challenging ones, especially to open your new home playing surface with Duke and Ohio State. Tell us a little bit about how that early season went and kind of the ebbs and flows of how things have gone for you this year.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting season. Some started I guess pretty steadily and well, and then that Ohio State Duke weekend was our first big challenge, really, and we did well. But we weren't quite there to get over the hump. I mean, we played very evenly with both those teams. Could have got a win in one of those, but we actually got the win. It prepared us well for Liberty for our opening conference game, which was the next week. So we got that win. And if you're going to want one of those three, that's probably the one that we would have wanted. Then we hit a bit of a bump. I think maybe things got a little comfortable against. We played Temple and VCU, lost 2 overtime games, and both strong teams. By no means guaranteed wins, or would we just expect to get those wins? But we didn't play our best, and I think we kind of got a little bit comfortable maybe with where we were at that point of the season, and so it was a good checkpoint for us. We changed some things and then started playing at a higher level. And we've been playing at a higher level for the most part since then, a couple of dips here and there. And but overall, in terms of how we're playing very well at the moment. So we're giving ourselves a good chance against anyone. I mean, we played UNC tied 1-1 at the end of 3 quarters. And they're blowing teams out left and right, and we held on. We lost 3-1, but it was a competitive game. And then against Connecticut last week, it was a strange game. We outshot them 17-6, and we had 11 corners and they had 4 or 5, and we lost 3-1. Now, no excuses. That's a penalty corner execution's got to be better, but we're playing really well overall as a team, and so we've just got to turn all of that good work into goals, which is in the end the only thing that matters.
And it feels like it can kind of be a brutal sport with what you're talking about, where you way ahead in shots, way ahead in penalty corners, equivalent to ice hockey of controlling the puck and having like 5 or 6 power plays. You just can't find the way to find the back of the cage to get the ball in and get a point up on the board. I know something that we've talked about before with your team with certain games and certain really challenging opponents that you've played. But I think it definitely stuck out in the UConn game, because watching the stream, it's like, hey, we should be up like 4, 5, 6 nothing at this point. It's a tough sport. How do you kind of to talk to your team to kind of get them to keep grinding and keep approaching that and keep working, even though you're not finding that luck to get the back of the net?
Yeah, it's like probably like any of those sports. It's in the end, it's statistics and doing the right things to give you the best chances. You can't always script everything perfectly on how everything's going to go, but you've got to be in the right spot. You've got to make the right movements, put the ball in the right spot, and then you also have to have that little bit of extra desire and drive to get the ball over the line. And that's something that's an intangible, obviously. But the great goal scorers all have that instinct of timing, and so some of that stuff you can't teach. But what we can teach is being in the right positions to give you the best chance of getting the ball in. And so we've been working on. I mean, basically this week we've been working on goal scoring, positions in the circle, and penalty corners, offensive and defensive.
And I think I know a lot of ODU fans tuned in to watch the game with JMU, which it's weird for a lot of people because they're not in our conference for field hockey, but they are for everything else. But I think
Mm-hmm.
you saw that to get that game winning goal in that JMU game to kind of come back after some adversity and really press and like fire the ball in there and see who can pop a rebound. Because if I remember correctly, that was the game where it was kind of a rebounded shot. The ball was in front and it just got thrown into the back of the cage, beat the keeper. That was a fun game, I know, for OD fans to watch.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. The statistics of where goals are scored from in our sport, almost I think I don't know the exact numbers, but the huge majority of goals are scored from within 8 yards of the goal. So it's usually not the beautiful blast shot from the top of the circle into the top corner of the goal that scores. It's the one that deflects off someone at the far post, or the goalie rebounds it and then it's a scramble and then someone pushes it over the line. Those are how most of the goals are scored in our sport. And so you can't practice those situations enough. And also when you find someone who's got the instincts to get the ball over the line, that's a unique thing as well. And so we've got some players who can do that, and it's just a matter of practicing it, honestly. And sometimes the reality is a lucky bounce. But I feel like we're due for a few lucky bounces. We've had a lot of bounces go just to the wrong spot for us, and I feel like we're due.
Banking some of those lucky shots for the most critical of time, which is the Big East tournament. And the Big East, I feel like, was a gauntlet this year. I know you and I chatted, I believe, at Afterglow, kind of early in the season, before the season. And then when I was out there at practice, about how you were talking about there could be like 6 teams competing for the 4 spots that get you into the Big East tournament. And you were right. I mean, it really came down to the final game and some tiebreakers. So tell us a little bit, talk us through like the Big East, and there's so many good teams there, and everything is a grind. Like coupling that after a tough non-conference, how have you parlayed some of that experience into like what preps you to be successful in the Big East tournament with that difficult schedule you played?
Yeah. The Big East has been great. I think it's really good for our conference. The conference is getting tougher. And pretty much what you said there, 6 teams that were really close to getting in, and there's no easy games. I mean, we had 2 games where we won by a pretty big margin, Providence and Georgetown, but Providence beat UConn a couple of weeks ago, so that was a surprise. And then in the last, Providence beat UConn. Providence did not make the tournament. Only 4 out of 8 teams make the Big East tournament. And then Villanova beat Temple 3-0, and Temple got in the tournament and Villanova didn't. And this was all in the last couple of weeks. So it was very tight. We were fortunate. Us and UConn, we secured our spots like 2 weeks ahead, or the second last week of the the regular season. But for all the other teams, it was down to the last game to make sure that they got in. And we had a lot of, I mean, we went to overtime with Quinnipiac. We did not have, we had a lot of close games in the Big East. 1-goal game with Villanova, obviously 1-goal loss to Temple in overtime. And a good game with UConn. So it's just, I think it's good. The conference is getting stronger, and more than likely hoping to get multiple NCAA bids. Assuming that we can take care of business this weekend, hoping that we can. And it's just great. I think it's good for the conference because it's going to help recruiting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the way you schedule is also very attractive too. Like for maybe fans that aren't as familiar with field hockey, you all have played the equivalent of like the top 2 or 3 teams in the Big Ten and the top 2 or 3 teams in the Big East if this was football, and then you still have your conference season on top of it. So it's been challenging. It's impressive to see, and it just kind of shows like ODU as a program, kind of where we are and what we're able to go do. But speaking through all of that, you land 4 players on the Big East all conference teams. And I want to talk about Freddie first, because I think what she did is really impressive to crack the top 10 all time for assists, because this is a very storied program. There are a lot of amazing players, and I don't even remember how many All-Americans have come through. But talk to us a little bit about Freddie, getting that record, but obviously just what she does from a leadership standpoint for this team.
Yeah, well, Freddie's just she's a special player, but also a phenomenal person, and someone who's been a joy to coach for 4 years. We'll definitely miss her. She is an electric player to watch. Her speed on the left side, and then when she plays on the right side as well, she's really dynamic as a player, and so a lot of fun as a personality as well. She's one of our captains, but she's got a little bit of a free spirit about her, and she brings that onto the field as well. But to crack that top 10 in ODU history, I mean, ODU in the 80s and 90s was a dominant dynasty in a time when there weren't as many strong programs. The competition level was not quite the same as it is now, and I think the only other players that are and they were scoring 10 goals consistently on teams. And so there's a lot of people that had huge numbers in goals and in assists. And so I think there's no one else in the top 10 in assists since 2000 or 2001. So in the basically since that, the era has shifted in just after the millennium in 2000, where it was no longer, ODU, UNC, and a couple of other teams that were just in the hunt all the time. The wealth started to get spread, and that there were more strong field hockey programs in contention, and so statistics obviously changed. There weren't the constant 9-0 or 5-0 or 7-1 wins, and things got a lot tighter. So I think it's just really impressive, and she's just been a consistently strong player on the field for us, and also wonderful person. So you always like seeing that combination.
Yeah, I can always thank her for when I was there at one of the preseason practices for running back and grabbing me my ODU field hockey long sleeve Under Armour. So
looks good on you.
So we'll be wearing that through the weekend for sure as we watch your games. But you had others on that list as well. Tess Jedalou on as a forward makes the first team all Big East. Tell us a little bit about her style of play, because she's had some very clutch goals for this program throughout the season.
Yeah, she's very physically strong, aggressive, and she's a hard worker, and so kind of fits in with our style of play and the way we want to play. And she's been able to get some key corner goals for us, especially, and offered a lot to the team. And the funny thing is with we bring up these names, and we have this big. I sent a message to our SID to be included in the quote when we accepted these awards is that it's so tough singling out people, because we have some other players on the team that aren't on that list. A lot of it's statistically based, obviously, goals and assists. But there's so many unsung heroes, and that I want to mention, and I want to say, well, yeah, but this person should be recognized as well, because they're all contributing in different ways, and some kind of unsung heroes, I guess I would say.
Yeah, and I look specifically to your back line too. Like I know Serena made the second team. Seuss as a goalkeeper is on the second team, but I feel like just even over the last several years, like the back line has kind of been the backbone for your team of playing that defense first and turning it into quick offense. I know that's resulted in a few goals, but feel free if there's players in the back line, midfield, those contributors, you want to shout them out. Like, feel
Yeah.
free. You got to open forum here.
Well, the thing that speaking of the back line that I really like is our back line, our back five. So Seuss in goal, and then we've got Kerry, who's a sophomore at right back. We have Serena at center back, who's a freshman. Left back is Nicolette, who's a sophomore and has not played back before until this year. And then Amelie, who's a freshman at defensive center mid, and so we've got all underclassmen in our back line, and that's been really the highlight of our team. The midfield and the backs have been really rock solid for throughout the season, and our forwards have been dangerous in games, and then have not quite got there in games. So that's what we've been trying to find more consistency with between that and corners. But I think there's just so many players across the field. I mean, Rena Tassola is in center mid. She is one of the most effective players that I've ever coached, and she is almost like having two players on the field. And she's small in stature, but she never stops working. She doesn't come off for a sub at all in the game, and she just she works and works and works. The kind of player that you might beat her once with the ball, but then all of a sudden she's back, and then you got to beat her again, and then you might beat her again, but you're not going to beat her the third time. So it's just a fun team to coach. I mean, we've got Emily Tamaro, who's a right mid from Virginia Beach, a local player, and who's just torching opponents on the right side of the midfield. Gosh, I mean, I could keep going on about the number of players, but I feel like I love the highlights for our awards, but there's the downside is that some people get overlooked, and they're working just as hard. And I really feel like our team is really it's a really well built and really thoroughly good team across the board, and that's the thing that has been really enjoyable for me this season to coach.
I know when they're voting on those awards, they're looking like a little blurb of some text and then all the stats next to it. And there's a lot of times those key players don't necessarily show up in those little stats. Mm-hmm. But I feel like with Rena, when I watch the games, if something good is happening, I feel like she is somehow involved one way or another, whether it's transition, offensive attack. I feel like she's always involved in some way. You see her pop up with an assist, or she had the pass before the assist that led to the goal. So that's great to hear, and really great to hear from like looking forward into the future that back line and your keeper are all underclassmen. Like that is a great backbone as you go forward into future seasons as well.
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, the way that college athletics is now, it's like almost in probably every sport, you're basically creating a new team every year, and you're going to have to, we're starting 5 new players this year over last year, after last year's championship, so players move on, and we got some transfers, and we got some good freshmen, and then players are evolving in the program. So you've got to be on your toes and ready to evolve. But for sure, having that young backfield that's doing well already it's going to be, it provides some reassurance, for me saying, okay, we're solid here. Now we got to look for a bit of flair, a bit of finishing, that goal scoring stuff that we were talking about to separate us on the scoreboard.
Yeah, absolutely. The transfer portal has added a new layer of complexity to your job for sure, along with every other coach in college sports. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break for a word from the Pride of ODU NIL Collective, and we'll be right back to chat a little bit about the game tomorrow and what's ahead for the rest of the Big East tournament.
This episode of the Monarchists podcast is brought to you by the Pride of ODU Collective. Their mission is to elevate the experience of student athletes through name, image, and likeness, while also elevating the fan experience. If you or your business are interested in getting involved, you can reach out to us directly or go over to theprideofodu.com. That is theprideofodu.com. Thank you for listening, and go Monarchs.
All right, tomorrow, 4 o'clock in Providence, Rhode Island, taking on Temple, a little bit of a potential revenge game from the regular season. Very, very tough opponent. Love to hear your thoughts on Temple, the team, and anything you all are doing to prepare without obviously giving away any kind of game plans or any tips or tricks for the other team to download last minute.
Yeah, they're a tough team. Their coach played for the national team and was a very tough competitor herself. And so the team doesn't fall far from that tree. They play hard, they play aggressively. And we had a really tight game with them the last time we played them. And when I watched it again, I'm like, we did not win the 50-50s. We lost the battle of desire in that game. And that's one thing that I do not like seeing from my team, from our team. I think if there's an amazing team that outplays us, then I can live with that, and they're better than us, I can live with that. But I do not like being our team being out hustled. So the one message for our team, we're going through all the tactical stuff, obviously, and have some changes on that front. But the big thing was that we did not play with the drive and determination and toughness that we needed to the last time we played them. I think part of it might have been, we just played that tough Ohio State Duke weekend and done fairly well, and then we got the Liberty win. So I don't know if there was a complacency that had set in at that point, but we did not perform in the way that I expect us to represent ODU. And so tomorrow I'd bet some money that we're going to play hard. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, players performing at the right time. And I think we're showing that in a lot of ways with how we played in the last few games, which we talked about before. So I feel like it'll be a tough game tomorrow for sure, but I feel like we're ready to go.
And a stat you probably know, but maybe Monarch fans don't. Temple has a little voodoo, I think, on their home field. They went 9-0 at home this year. They went 2-7 on the road. This will be a neutral site contest, so maybe kind of shake a little bit of that off and have a more even playing surface, which I don't know how you get much more even than the game that you had with them earlier this year. I mean, 0-0 through regulation, so 1-0 game into overtime. They're definitely tough, but hopefully the neutral site aspect, maybe that's the one little thing in addition to, I'm sure, everything else that you and your group are preparing for tomorrow against Temple. We don't want to look ahead. We don't like to jinx things on this show, but in the other side of the bracket, you've got Liberty and UConn, who are also two very, very difficult teams. There's no easy road to the Big East Championship, but any thoughts on that game going into it? And then not going to look ahead. Just any thoughts going into that game?
Yeah. I mean, I think that game we're not going to be watching that game as coaches. We are very much focused on what we tell our team. We're focused on our game, and one step at a time. We got to play the Owls tomorrow and take care of that. The other game I wouldn't be surprised either way if either team wins. They're both good teams, very different styles of play, and very different coaching personalities. Couldn't be probably more polar opposite, actually. And I think it'll be really interesting to see that game. We'll watch it afterwards. And hopefully we're in a position where we're watching it to scout, the team that won for Sunday. But yeah, I think it could go either way, because Liberty have not had the greatest season, but overall. But they've also upset a couple people. They beat Duke, even though they got outshot significantly. And Connecticut, we controlled that game a lot more than we controlled the Liberty game, and we won the Liberty game and we lost the Connecticut game. So I think regardless of who wins that, it's going to be a competitive match. And as we watch some of the Big Ten, ACC, and the other conference games from across the country that are going on at the moment, a lot of close games, a lot of overtime games, a lot of shootouts. So really, it's a time where things even out, and you can't put money on the favorite every time. That's for sure.
Well, we will absolutely be watching and rooting for you. Fans, you can stream the video on Flow Sports. If you go to odusports.com, you can see all the other links for live stats and things like that. Of course, make sure you're following on your social media platforms for ODU Field Hockey, ODU Athletics, and then ODU Monarchists as well. We'll be providing some updates through there. But Coach Griffiths, tell the team that we said good luck, wish you nothing but the best and all the right bounces tomorrow. And then, hopefully watching you again on Sunday for the championship game. But thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, no problem. I hope we can chat next week from a championship podium and looking ahead to the NCAA. That's our goal this weekend. So hopefully we'll talk again soon. Thanks, Gary.